We have started our chapter NICOBOBINUS and we are going to read the unit NICOBOBINUS and page number 3. So let's get started. So they set off means they travel through the early morning town. When they got to the end of the narrow street where they lived, they met a night watchman who said, "Where are you two going at this hour?" "We are going to look for the land of dragons," said NICOBOBINUS. "You can't do at this time of this morning," said night watchman, but before he could grab them, he would catch them. Grab means catch them. Rosie and NICOBOBINUS were sprinting away. Sprinting away means to run very fast as they could. And they didn't stop running until they had crossed the bridge and tripped over. Tripped over means to fall suddenly, accidentally, over a dog that was lying half asleep under a garden wall. Rosie's bottle of lemonade smashed. Smashed means break against the wall, and the dog leapt to its feet, barking as if it had thought dogs doomsday. Doomsday means the end of the day. The end of the day had arrived. For a moment they were sure it was going to bite them, but then it noticed the two buns and that had rolled into the gutter, and it wolfed them down. Wolfed them down means the dog ate the two buns, barked thank you, and ran to tell its friend that I have eaten buns. "We are not going to get far without supplies." Supplies means food, said Rosie gloomily. Gloomily, sadly. "I wonder if I could pick a few of those," said NICOBOBINUS, gazing up, looking up at apple tree on the other side of the garden wall. "Of course you can," said Rosie. "Stand on my shoulders." So NICOBOBINUS stood on Rosie's shoulders and climbed onto the wall, but the tree was further away than he thought, and as he reached out, he lost his balance and fell with a smash down into the most magnificent garden he had ever seen. NICOBOBINUS looked back on up at the high wall, but there was no way he could jump or climb back. The wall was very high. "What am I going to do?" he yelled. He shouted. "Now what should I do?" NICOBOBINUS yelled. NICOBOBINUS just shouted. "You will think of something," Rosie yelled back. Yelled back means shouted again, crossing her fingers very hard. "Oi," said a voice behind NICOBOBINUS. There was somebody behind NICOBOBINUS. NICOBOBINUS didn't stop to look who it was. He ran straight into the tree. "Got you," said the voice, and NICOBOBINUS felt 5 thick fingers on his neck. "Oh," said NICOBOBINUS, "I have been waiting for you," said the voice, and NICOBOBINUS felt 5 more thick fingers around his wrist. But NICOBOBINUS, instead of trying to run away, doubled himself up and went back as fast as he could. So the man's legs were knocked from him, and he landed in a pile of leaves. Now the man was in the pile of leaves. You can visualize this is the man and this is NICOBOBINUS. "Are you all right?" called Rosie, but she didn't hear any reply except for the man who growled. Growled means made a very low sound. "Just you wait, both of you." "Oh dear," said Rosie. "Sounds like trouble." And she was right. Chapter 2. NICOBOBINUS ran as fast as he could across the lawn, down the path, around the hedge. Hedge means small bushes, and into the shed. Little shed. Shed means small building for storage. A small building for storage is called a shed, and bolted the door and closed the door. "Open up," cried the man, and the hinges. Hinges means the very points, the metal points which are used to open and shut the door. Creaked. Creaked means a sound produced by the rusty door, and the door shook as he banged it with. Bang means he was just knocking the door very fast. That door's not going to last long, thought NICOBOBINUS to himself, and he dragged a large old stone rolled up against it. Open this door at once. Did you hear? The man was shouting, but Nicodemus didn't hear anything at all. He was too amazed by what he had found. You will have to come out eventually. The man said, you have to come out. The man was saying, and the longer you leave it, the worse it will be for you. But he could have saved his breath. NICOBOBINUS was on his knees examining what he had revealed. When he moved the roller, he brushed off the dust. Brushed off means to clean the dust, and undid the catch and then lifted it up. Right, I am going to break this door down, said the man. Now I am going to break the door, the man said. And then, because he knew he did have to repair the door himself, he added, do you hear? But Nicobobinas didn't hear. Nicobobinas had disappeared through the trap door. Trap door means secret door. He had discovered and was running down stone steps that were slippery with slime. Slippery means they were slippery with slime. Slime means very, you can say the watery and dust, and that the smelt of graveyards, and that went down and down deeper into the ground until it became pitch black dark. Now there was very darkness in the well. Rosie said Nicobobinas to himself, this is all your fault. Now Nicobobinas is thinking that this is because of Rosie's wild idea to discover the land of dragon. That's why he is in trouble. He heard this heartbeat pounding. Pounding means rising, and his steps echoing along the dank rock of the narrow passageway, until at once there was nothing, and before he realized he was falling in blackness. Several thoughts flashed through his mind at the same time. Now he was thinking that this is the fault of Rosie. The first was something along the lines of bother, only a bit ruder. The second was rather unkind thought about his best friend who had provoked. Instigated means provoked somebody, the whole expedition, and rather unkind thought about and involved her dangling over a snake pit. Dangling means he is now in the trouble. Snake pit, a place full of dangers. Now he is in danger. While numerous fierce dragons flew at her, chanting, how could you do it to him, poor Nicobobinas? The third thought was, suppose it's a well, a deep, unused well with slippery sides that you could never climb, and cry water at the bottom. That now he is thinking all about the possibilities that this is because of Rosie. The second thought was that if the well was slippery, then what would happen? If he could not climb, then what would happen? At this point he discovered it was not a well. He made his discovery very suddenly and very painfully. Oh, said Nicobobinas, and he lay there in pitch black darkness with a single breath left in his body for what seemed like the whole winter, but was probably only a few seconds. He came to himself, in fact, just as a stone hit him on the head. Oof, said Nicobobinas again, and then realized that he could hear footsteps high above him. Stop, sir, he called out, but the footsteps kept on coming down. Aha, I have got you, cried the man. I shall beat every bone in your body until it is black. And Nicobobinas supposed that man was going to say blue, but in fact the next word he uttered sound like, now this is very unfamiliar sound. This is very unfamiliar word. The word which uttered or which was said by the man. It was not a word which Nicobobinas was at all familiar, but he understood this means perfectly and moved his smartly out of the way. Crash. Are you all right? He asked. There was silence. Nobody felt his way back in pitch dark until his hand touched the man's leather jerkin. Jerkin, a jacket without sleeves. The man was lying as still as death, but he was breathing. I must get help, said Nicobobinas to himself, and he began groping around in black darkness to find another way out. When he found it, however, His heart sank. The only exit appeared to be a narrow gap down by the floor, no more than a foot high. I can't swim through that in pitch darkness. Swim means to run fast, he said to himself, but at that very moment, he heard Rosie's cheerful sound saying, "You can do it." NICOBOBINUS span around, and there, to his immense surprise, was nothing, no Rosie, nobody. "But I don't know if it leads anywhere," he said to the voice in his head, "and it's such a tight squeeze, I might get stuck." He didn't hear Rosie's voice again, but he knew that it would have said, and that was how he found himself wriggling down a narrow passage, wriggling down, moving very quick. Now he is trying. Stone in the pitch, he screamed, "Run fast!" And he wriggling there in black for a long time, and the tunnel got narrower until he could hardly inch along it. "I am going back," he said to himself, but he didn't. He just kept wriggling and screaming until suddenly he found he could stand up, and he took a pace forward and immediately fell over steps leading up. "Oh," he said, although what really meant was, "Thank goodness." He began to climb, and he was still climbing some minutes later. "It must be a tower," he thought. Now he is thinking that it is a tower, and he's climbing the steps of tower and the grandest house in the Venus. But at that very moment, he saw a crack of light. He stretched out his hand and found himself touching a catch that clicked softly in the dark. A panel suddenly slid open, and NICOBOBINUS stepped through into the most amazing room he did ever seen. Now he has come out of the danger. He has discovered that now he is safe. So I am going to send you the question answers. Just please make a beautiful, well designed title page first, and then you have to write down the question answers. I will check definitely those question answers once the regular classes would be resumed. Thank you. Happy learning.